Hi, I'm Flight Lieutenant Will Collins. I'm here at X-Ray Sierra 422. I'll just tell you a little bit about myself and why I'm here with this fantastic project and these awesome guys. I joined the Air Force 20 years ago now, in April 2002. I walked through the doors at Cranwell, always with the aim of wanting to fly pointy things. I'd grown up looking at the RAF yearbook and seeing the Lightning in it, and it was one of those iconic aircraft that made me think, yes, that's the job I want to do in the future as a little kid. I did all the usual flying training after that through Tucanos, where I had my first encounter with actual real Lightning pilots. There was a really nice instructor called Andy Williams, who was one of our favourite. We want to go and fly with him to hear all the good old tales from 5 Squadron and Binbrook, and flying these things for 22 minutes because it's all they had the fuel for at the time. And then after that through Hawks, and then ended up on Harrier. Flew those for 4 years at Cottesmore on 4 Squadron, and then 41 Squadron, and then 1 Squadron, before we retired those sadly in 2010. And I got to move on to the much more modern developments of the Eurofighter Typhoon. That was another wonderful aeroplane. I flew for a couple of years with 3 Squadron before having to go and do my bit of penance and time as an instructor over at RAF Valley on the Hawk T2. I spent 4 years there and decided that what I really wanted to do was aircraft test and get back into that. And so was lucky enough in late 2018 to get to come out to the States to go to the United States Navy Test Pilot School. Whilst I was doing the T6 training for that, I happened to land at this lovely airbase here at Stennis, just on a quick hop out for lunch kind of sortie. And to my enormous surprise, whilst landing here, I saw this particular aircraft sat out on the apron here, being worked on and actively existing. It was a very big surprise. I had no idea that X-Ray Sierra 422 was being restored here, and so popped over to say hello. Managed to convince my instructor we needed to waste an extra half an hour on the ground, despite that interrupting the busy training schedule for the T6s at Whiting, and came over to have a look, and it was a wonderful surprise to see the dedicated team out here who were working really, really hard to try and restore this very iconic aircraft back to a flying status. This particular aircraft, for that instance, was great happenstance, because there I was about to start test pilot school, and this aircraft was the Empire Test Pilot School Lightning for many, many years, and it was the last thing it did in RAF service before being retired. So that felt like it was meant to be. I then went off to Maryland, said I'm really interested in the project, but I'm at test pilot school for the next year, and that is drudgery in 20 hours a day. It's an 8-day-a-week course. So left me doing that for a while. But at the end of that, I was lucky enough to be posted in American terms just down the road, 3 hours away to Eglin Air Force Base, to be a test pilot on the F-16. And so thought, right, I'll get back in touch and see if I can spend the next 3 years popping down the road to Stennis to help try and restore this, because it's such a worthy aviation icon that it'd be really nice if we could have one flying again. So unfortunately, COVID happened then. So that was 2020, and we spent the next 2 years not being able to do anything at all. Yeah, unfortunately I'm a pilot, so not much use without some engineers to supervise me and make sure I'm doing things correctly on an aircraft. So the poor guys couldn't get out here for the whole of COVID for 2 whole years, and everything was on hold. But here we are now in April 2022, and I finally managed to make it the 3 hours up the road at the same time as the trained experts who really know what they're doing with the aircraft, to try and help out and be at least a little bit of muscle power and trained monkey work to try and restore this absolutely incredible aviation icon that it would be wonderful to get flying again, and I think really, really worth mine and plenty of other people's time.